Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum. The program that I'm doing now is about great HR and HR professionals. My name is Umer Raza and I'm an HR professional and I'm associated with the HR profession for last 21 years now. I'm a chartered member of Chartered Institute of Personality Development UK. The program that I'm doing now, although it's a big name, great HR and of course great HR professionals. I will be covering a few areas on both the things: how an HR department can be transformed as a great HR, and how you who are running the HR department in your companies can become a great HR professional. The things that I will be covering, although are quite simple at the same time, but on the other, they can be very complex. And the reason being is the complex being reason is that it's not very easy to implement all those stuff. And since HR in itself, although it's a very simple profession, but on the other hand, over the years, the development in HR has transformed it from a personnel department to going ahead to many jumps, giving it a manifold increase in terms of the things and the studies and the competencies that have to be involved in HR. So. This is, of course, not a very easy question to answer. That what could be a great HR professional, and what can constitute to become a great HR department. But the things that I will be covering will show in some sense that over the period of time that you will have to evolve your HR department and and your HR profession as a professional. So things will not be happening overnight, not even in a year or two, but over a long period of time. So remember, while listening to all of these things and noting down all of the stuff, that these are the things which has to be contextualized according to your own company, according to your own behaviors, according to your own standing, and according to your own capacities. Being an HR consultant, I have used lots of stuff out of this into with my clients. But whenever I will share an example with you, don't take that the similar example can be true for you. It's as simple as that. It cannot be true for you. You can on your you might be thinking whenever I will be giving any example, if I will be giving any example, that that's not possible. Yes, that will exactly be true, that it may not be possible in your context, but it may be possible in someone's others context. It will have to be customized according to your own business needs, according to your own learning, and according to the employees or the department that you are running in your organization, right? So the things that I will be covering in this program, I've taken most of them. The source of this is basically a book which is by Gamma Rookcroft and Tim Scott. They both are fellow members of CIPD, and it's a big book, a practical guide. And I have taken just few areas out of that, and then I will be complementing those areas with my own experience as a full-time HR head in different organization, in my past experience, and now as an HR consultant with my clients. So. Wish you a very good journey forward. Keep get this thing in mind, that these can be as simple as you take them, or they can be as complex as you can think of them, right? So what is a great HR? So I will be covering two areas: one which is great HR, and the second area will be great how great HR professionals exercise their profession, right? So, one involves the great HR department. involves balancing the complex and sometimes competing needs of organization, line managers, and employees. So there are needs of the organization, the department heads, and of course the employees. So one of my clients once referred to me as that sometimes it becomes very difficult for her that the organization needs it different, and it is a business organization. Of course, they are there for profit, but on the other hand, there are line managers who are continuously demanding that or putting a stress on them, on the HR, that they need new recruits perhaps, or they need different kind of packages, or they want to retain their best employees. And then there are employees who have, of course, certain needs. So combining all those things is basically a very complex things, and somehow it is competing needs also. Why it is competing? Because organization on the one hand needs that that the profit goes ahead, that their balance sheet could reflect a positive outlook, and they should be competitive in the market, and they should be relevant in the market, and they should remain in the business. On the other hand, there are employees who do not want to lose their job, who want to perform good, but at the same time they have their own capacities also. So HR, as an HR department, that whole department needs to balance all those things. How the employees' needs are met, how the organizational needs are met. So there has to be a very nice balance of head and heart, of reality and emotions. So you at sometimes you have to get aside from reality, and on the other hand, you have to get aside from the emotions of yourself. So that's the nice balance that an HR department needs to keep. So I'm talking about the whole HR department, not only the HR head. So it is the HR department's role that comes forward. HR department is simple and bureaucracy free wherever possible. So its procedures are simple, and people who come to HR department for different needs, they should think that it is when they will go there, they will get their demands met in a proper manner. By bureaucracy, it does not mean that the bureaucrats, that the typical bureaucrats, especially in Pakistan or environment, or in Indian environment, or where there are civil servants who are typically known as bureaucrats, and that's the bureaucracy that you. But here, bureaucracy basically means that's a mindset. A shop owner in any street can be a bureaucratic mindset owner also, because it is basically what bureaucracy free means, that you have to challenge the status quo, and you have to make things simple and easy for the people who are using it, right? So if a person who has kind of benefit needs, or has some emotional needs, or has something to cover his capacity, or wants to contribute something towards the organization, or wants to gain out of something, or want to enhance his productivity for the organization, or wants to get some insurances coverage well defined for him. So all these things should be simple, easy, and should be that flexible, not totally flexible, but that flexible, that these things could adjust the individual needs of the organization. So that's basically the meaning of having a bureaucracy-free environment in the HR department, right? Then empowers managers to make their own decision, doesn't tell people what to do, right? So it's basically the mantra which is going on over the years, that you have to have people who are empowered enough to make their own decisions. One, second, whenever they are going to contribute something, they will contribute their best when they are going to make their own decisions. Yes, those decisions have to be channelized according to the policy or the procedures or the laws that HR is there to perhaps make and govern within the organization. So, according under the umbrella of those standard operating procedures or those value setup or those mission statement or those value statement, vision statement, and the prevailing laws within your country, those managers should be making decisions, and they will be making decisions once they are abreast of all the changes that are happening within the policy and procedure and standard operating procedures, and how easy, simple, and bureaucracy free those procedures and policies are. So when they are bureaucracy free, when they are simple, when they are not complex, you will not be needing to tell them what to do, and they will on the same at the same point will be very open to make their own decisions under the umbrella of whatever your standard operating procedures or policies are. Then helps to create the conditions in which people can thrive and grow. So this is, we are moving ahead towards making it a kind of a growth oriented company. The HR department's role is to create that momentum of growth within the organization. How it can create that momentum is to create those conditions, that openness, that simpleness, that complex free environment within the organization where people could feel that they can get something out of it for themselves. So that famous thing, that what is in it for me thing. So people who come in, they perform, regardless if they are directors of the organization, they are managers of the organization, they are deputy managers, or they are management trainees, or they are simple workers or employees. So they should have those conditions in which they could thrive and grow their own self, grow themselves as professionals. So the conditions means that not only their working conditions, the working environments, not only the air conditioning in the office, not only the food setup in the organization, not only the heating in the organization, not only the table, chairs, and computers in the organization, but the conditions specifically going towards the human side is that they should be freely able to exercise their right to speak, their right to contribute, and their right to nourish themselves, and their right to speak out what is bad in the organization and what is good in the organization. So that are the conditions which help people to thrive and grow. Now, when we say that they should be able to freely speak and contribute, we need to create that environment and put them into such training programs, into such issues wherever they could, into such environment where they could actually contribute progressively within the organization. Then addresses the cause of people issues. It doesn't just treat the symptoms. So the great HR department addresses the causes. So it goes back towards the causes. Why there is where there is slackness in the organization, why there is complacency coming into the organization, why there people are coming late, why there are absentees into the organization, why people are leaving the organization, why our organization is not progressing, why we are having too much customer complaints, why the organization is not meeting its quarterly or annual or bi-yearly targets. So all these things which starts with why, that starts to address the causes, right? So when you address the cause, you will be able to sustain the initiatives that you are taking. So if you are not addressing the cause and only addressing the symptoms, that will be not a sustainable progress within the HR department, and then of course into the organization. So these are one, two, three, four, five areas which are basically which will basically help to create a great HR department. There may be more. These are just the tip. These are just the ideas. Again, remember when I'm saying that it has to be bureaucracy free. Your HR department has to be bureaucracy free. It has to empower to make your own decisions. Do not think that only these five areas. If you cover only these five areas, you will be. It will be a done deal. No, there might be, there should be, and there will be many other areas in your HR department that you would be doing. There would be many other areas in your organization that you will be doing culturally, people wise. So so why I'm saying this is that HR department in itself, HR profession is an evolving profession. It will remain an evolving profession. There won't be any end to this. Uh, it's not a formula of physics. It's not a formula of chemistry. It's not a formula of any physical sciences, right? It's basically a continuously evolving formula of natural sciences. So since humans are evolving, so will be HR department will evolve because it is directly dealing with people. So don't take these five um, points that I have mentioned here as the greatest points. No, they are not. They are just ideas. There can be many other points, but for your organization to start with, or to put your organization or your HR department towards the path, you may need these or your own five, six, seven, eight, maximum 10 points to start with, right? So you should be having a starting point to go ahead with this. Now moving towards the uh, great HR professional. So what an HR professional needs into the in himself to become a great HR professional. These are all again. This is a long list of things. Now, from that book, these are basically it's a longer list and it includes a lot of things in it. Again, I will say that this will not be the final list. This will not be kind of exhaustive list. There may many other things that can be included into this. So let's go ahead and read as to what are the things. Understand now what a great HR professional does. He or she, of course, understands the context in which they operate and understand it well. The, the industry, the market, the value drivers, the products, and the services. So, context, understanding the context is very important. So, you need to understand under which industry you are working. If you are working into a textile industry, that would be a very different concept. If you are working in the telecom industry, that will be entirely a different context for your HR. If you are working in an FMCG, if you are working in IT, if you are working in auto industry, if you are into cement industry, whichever industry you are, if you are working in a retail industry. So every industry has to have a different context of HR. So people, you might have heard that there is a different culture into a textile industry. There's a culture of telecom industry also. There's a culture of hospitality industry also. So when I was into three of the major industries, I worked in a textile industry. The people, they're very skillful, but at the same time they have a very different outlook towards their profession, outlook towards their industry. At the same time, when I went to the hospitality side, what I saw was that people there were quite well spoken, well dressed, but on the other hand, they were not highly educated people. But when I moved towards the telecoms industry and when I worked there, I saw that there people were quite well educated. They were, and now I'm talking only about education in terms of the degrees that they were. I'm not divulging into towards the how that education has impacted their outlook towards life. That is a different story altogether. But what I'm referring is that there is a different culture in terms of an education also into textile industry, into the hospitality industry, and into the telecom industry. And similar is true for auto industry. Similar is true for the development agencies as well. So which kind of industry you are working, you need to understand that what is the background of the people who are coming into this industry, what is the educational background of the people who are coming into this industry, what is the requirements of that industry, what are the values that that industry, that market, that people who are coming here are bringing in, what kind of products or services that you are selling. If you are into hospitality industry, it's a different, it's entirely different context. People have to be very if you're into service industry like banks, like hospitality, like hospitals, the outlook has to be different. Your whole HR context will be changed when you are working into a hospitality industry. It will completely be shifted if you are working into a production industry. If it will be completely shifted if you are working into a government department or into a development agency. So that context has to be understood by an HR professional to become a great HR professional, right? Then what is the next? Have a deep understanding of human behavior. Now this is very interesting. The HR profession has evolved over the last 80, 90 or 100 years in the world. In Pakistan it's a different story. It has evolved very quickly in the last about 30 years. But what is happening now is that when earlier the HR professional or was an administrative personnel or person or a personnel department head, or he might be studying MBA degree only, or having has some finance background or some production background. Now the understanding is going ahead towards an HR professional to study psychology also. Now every HR professional cannot be a graduate of psychology, cannot be a graduate of anthropology, cannot be a graduate of philosophy. But what this is saying that, and to become a great HR professional, you need to have a very deep understanding of human behavior, and that can come from observation around you. Because as an HR professional, you need to meet a lot of people. You need to move out of your office. So you need to move out of your cubicle that you are sitting in. You need to be available to the people, not only within your organization, but outside the organization also. Every minute that you are spending every minute that you are spending waking up, it has to be an observational waking up. So if you're going to the market, if you're going into to buy something, if you are going to sell something, if you are going to a wedding, if you are going to a funeral, if you are going to meet a friend, if you are having a family function, if you are just going around having a networking, if you are going to a hotel, a conference, wherever you're going, the human behavior is there. So it is not necessary that you should be graduate of psychology, or you should enroll yourself into a particular psychology course or philosophy course, but a mere observation can help you develop those skills. So if you graduate, by the way, if you enroll yourself into a human behavior study or a psychology course, that would be excellent. That is kind of add lots of colors in your profession. But what I'm saying is, it may not be possible for everyone to go through that. You may read books. Whenever you read books about human behavior or psychology, you may attach it with the context that you are serving in within an organization. So the idea for you is to keep the observation open wherever you are going. If you are a HR professional, or for that matter you want to become a great HR professional, have a commitment to their own personal development. So it is related to the previous area also, that previous thing of human behavior, that you need to have a very strict CPD for your continuous professional development. And of course, it says personal development. So your CPD, your continuous personal or continuous professional development, should have a list of things that should be there. Why it is there? Because you as a change agent, you the HR professional has to be a change agent. So when an HR professional is standing in front of his people, his employees, into the department or into the organization, he's telling people that you have to grow, you have to become relevant with the industry, you have to keep yourself relevant within the industry, you have to sustain your position. So that the audacity coming into the HR professional is coming through his own commitment towards his own personal development. People will question first that, sir or ma'am, what have you done for your own personal development? We haven't seen you growing over the last 1 year or 2 years or 3 years time. So how can you lecture us to grow? So it is your own personal development, commitment to personal development, that will help you to channelize your own self towards becoming a great HR professional. So you can have a list of your own goals, perhaps every quarter, every 6 months, or every year, whatever is feasible for you. So don't go with those fates that you should have a New Year resolution. Yes, if you have, you can have that, wonderful, and if you can work on that, wonderful. But being a very busy time with HR professionals, it may not always be possible for everyone. It may not be possible for everyone because of his or her own personality, because of his or her own preferences towards life, or towards family, or towards profession. But you can have a good list of what you are going to achieve this month, this quarter, or this year, and how you are going to improve upon yourself, right? So that's the personal development that people will be focusing on you before you ask them to improve their personal development. Know their stuff, whether that means keeping up with employment law or industry thinking, so that they can speak from a position of authority. So it is very self-explanatory that you need to know your stuff. You need to understand the current employment laws, the industry, how the industry is growing, how the telecom industry will be moving ahead, how the 5G will be impacting the telecom world, how the new banking regulations, how the new online banking will be affecting the organizations, how the new cement industry regulations will be impacting the industry, and then of course the employment, because there are lots of downsizing in the cement industry over the last 6, 7, 8 months. There are news for more, how the new global kind of automation of the professions will be impacting towards the hiring, towards the employment, towards the getting new recruits for your organization. So all these things, you need to know all this stuff there, so that whenever you speak, whenever you are into a board meeting, whenever you want to change the culture of the organization, or to introduce a new thing into the organization, or to new structure into the organization, people should listen to you. Then role model the heck out of all the stuff that they launch and speak for at their place. So become a role model. Role model. It's easier said than done. In their book, they have also mentioned that we should become a role model. Or everyone says that. We all know that. That we should be a role model. We should be a role model for our kids. We should be a role model for a leader. Should be a role model. So it's of course very easier said than done. It is of course very difficult, very difficult. And if you want to be a role model, one very simple thing that you need to start practicing is that do what you say. That's the very basics, very basics and simple things. So, since you should not be grooved into that 5 minute syndrome, that 5 minute syndrome says that you ask someone to call in 5 minutes, and you do not call in 5 minutes. You don't even call back. So 5 minute syndrome is something that you always say. We as people always used to say that I'll just call you in 5 minutes. I'll be there in 5 minutes. By 5 minutes, I mean that whatever time we give, we do not fulfill that, right? So whatever possibility for you is that you will be able to call someone back. You cannot take the call now. You want to call someone back, give a realistic time that you will call in that, and that very small act of yours will help you towards your journey to become a role model. Because the basic, I understand that the basic definition of being a role model is that you do what you say. That's very simple for me to say, but of course you must be, whenever you're practicing it, it will be very difficult to practice also. But let's start from here. Can clearly articulate how HR adds value, right? So it means that you as an HR professional can present in front of your people, in front of the other department heads, in front of the board, in front of the CEO, president, owners of the organization, that how you are adding value towards the organization, why you are needed. So the question of why you are needed into the organization. Why not? I mean, if HR is HR can be done by anyone, can it be? So if can it be done by anyone, why you? What is so different that you are adding value to the organization, right? So you should be able to pinpoint, put into a perspective as to how you are adding value towards the organization. Why, as an HR department should be there at the first place, right? Is it there only for hiring or firing or administration or policing or making the policy or enforcement of the policy? Maybe all these things, but what is so special for that industry? For example, if you are into a telecom industry and into an IT industry or telecom industry, can you enrich that? Can you present that enrichment into that industry, that the whole industry could benefit from that, your organization could benefit from that? Why there is it may be a controversial thing for me to say here, but why there are 100 people into the organization, why there are 10 people into one department? How can we combine lots of work, and how can we enhance the capacity of the people who are working into the organization, so that maybe we can have less people, we can have increased salaries, we can have increased profits? How can we restructure, how can we re-engineer the organization? So these are the how can we re-engineer the business processes of the why we are doing this thing for the last 5, 6, 10 years? How can it be different this time? How can we save time? How can we save money? How can we save resources? All these things, if combined, can add value, and that is something that an HR professional should articulate. Then, are easy to do business with. Okay, so that's very simple. So HR people are not they are not people who are fighting all the time. They are not difficult to access. They are not they are not easygoing people, but they are open minded. They are receptive for the people who come there. So people who come or meet them, they should feel that okay, yes, this is something. This is a person that I can work with. This is the person I like that person, and I have heard a number of HR heads who I have sent candidates to, and the candidates then responded that, oh, I was, it was really interesting to meet Mr. So and so HR person, and that director HR was so, and was so. Kind of open towards these positions, and I would like to work for that organization. So so the feeling that a person gets out of meeting an HR professional should be some that the person would like to work with him or her for the organization or for that person. So that's kind of a personality that an HR professional needs to have. When we're talking about personalities, there are of course personalities, and an HR professional must understand. HR professionals, by the way, are of course coming from from the same cultural background or educational backgrounds, but once they are into this profession, luckily or unluckily, they need to they have their own personalities also. I'm not asking them to forego that personality, but whatever their personality is, their role, once they are into the HR professional role and want to become a great HR professional, they have to understand other personality roles also, and understand the other preferences also, so that they could have that flexibility in themselves that could generate that vibes from them, that they could be transformed, or they are flexible according to the situation to behave like in any other personality also, not to become that other personality, only behave at that particular moment according to the situation, right? So you don't have to kind of compromise your personality. You have to be, to understand that very deep level of personality that is required to handle a particular level of situation. Are pragmatic and practical in the advice that they give. I don't know how much pragmatic and practical I was since I am doing this program, but yes, they are pragmatic and practical, of course. So you should be practical and pragmatic in your advice that you give. I think that whatever I'm advising here is, I'm not. Of course, I cannot force, and I'm not forcing. But whatever I'm saying also is to channelize you under the context that you are operating. The look at your own customization. Look at your own on ground realities while implementing any one of these. You may not be able to implement all of these, but you can start at least from one and start practicing it. Once you start practicing it, you will start feeling that, oh, it's not working. So you have to change. Or you may feel, oh, it is working. So now go to the second one. So if it is not working, you again have to think that why it is not working. If it is not working, you have to think that no, this is not working. Let me take something else for to begin with to start with. So the idea is that you need to customize it. You need to practice it according to your own environment, according to your own surrounding, according to the four walls surrounding you, according to the people surrounding you, according to the personality of the owner of your company, or the chairman of your company, or CEO of your company, or your own boss. So for that to do, you need to have a very good observational skill. You need to develop that observational skill. You need to maybe study a lot, read a lot of the relevant stuff, not the irrelevant one, but the relevant one. Never lose sight of the way that the people stuff makes people feel. Okay, so this means that you need to understand that how whatever I'm doing, whatever the people stuff I'm doing, I am doing an engagement drive, I'm doing survey, or I am starting a kind of a coffee morning, or I am starting a lunch, or I am insurance, I'm doing new insurances, or I am starting a new program, training program, how it is affecting our people and how people are feeling about that. So you may not be, so in principle what it means is that you may not, you should not start a new program in your organization, or start a new engagement drive in your organization while sitting in your office, right? You can develop it there, you can think it there, but you have to move out and then evaluate that what is the requirement of the people, how can whatever I am starting can be more customized according to the people. Or the other way is, once you roam around into the organization. When I was HR manager for Serena Hotels, I used to be in the kitchen, into the laundry, into the housekeeping area, into the engineering area. I used to enter into any department from different. I used to enter into different departments, or the kitchen or the restaurants, on different doors, so I could see that where are my people, for whom I am trying to make any new training program or any survey or engagement drive. What are their requirements? So when you stay close to them, you will have better idea as to what they are feeling and how you can contribute towards their growth. Then challenge appropriately, and aren't afraid to stand up for what is right when it is necessary, right? So this is kind of in our environment where we are operating in Pakistan, especially in India, or in our kind of environments, or maybe some other environments also. This is a revolutionary kind of a thinking also. So you should stand up for what is right, and you should not be no one who is not who is fired kind of unethically or unlawfully. You should stand up and say that no, this is not possible, I will not be letting it happen here. Or if there is a recruitment done badly, or someone from the high offices or someone from the political influences is wanting to have someone recruited into the organization. Now how you can, now it's not that you are just stand up and present your kind of criticism for that, or present your kind of authority that no, this is not possible for me. Challenge it appropriately. How you are going to challenge it? I mean, I usually kind of refer this to one of the experiences that I had once. It is basically, it's not self boasting, but let it be. It will be self boasting, of course, when I'm saying. But there is an example, so I have to give this example. Once one of my previous organization, my the head of the organization to asked me that you called me on phone and said that you need to fire that person. And there was an XY person in that office, and I was sitting in different office at that time, and he was there, and he said that you just need to fire that. And I said, okay, sir, thank you. And he said that I'm going abroad, and when I come back, I don't want to see that person. So at that time, I said, okay, sir, right. And I was, of course, I'm from the same culture, and I was stunned, and I didn't say that, oh no, sir, don't do this. No, you can't do this. So I just said that, okay, sir, thank you. I'll see. So and then he hanged up, and he went off. And after 1 week, and during that, after 1 week, he has to come back. And during that 1 week, what I was doing was that I called the relevant department, the people around him, and I got the real feedback from different sources that why that eventuality happened, that the head of the organization was firing that person. He was not a very senior person, not a very junior person. He was somewhere into the middle management and assistant manager type of a person. And why that person is that the head of the company is firing that. So what I got was that was not very authentic, was reason to fire a person at that, just like that. So when after 1 week he came back, and he again called me, and and he said that he saw that person there, and he said that, why, Umer, you didn't fire that person? And I said that, sir, can I can I say you something? And he said, yes, please go ahead. And I said that, so it's, I have investigated the whole issue, and if you still say so, I will fire him. But the reasons for his firing are not very legitimate, and if we fire, we will fire him, but if we'll fire, that person may go to may opt for a legal option. And when he goes to the legal option, we do not stand a case here, and we may go into appeals and appeals and appeals, and we will spend some money on that. But on the other hand, the person will get restored, because I have such experiences that that people who are fired illegitimately or without any due course of the law and the processes, their cases do not stand a chance in the organization's case, do not stand a chance into the court of law. So if you want that our organization should spend our time, money into this useless exercise, I'm willing to go ahead with that. But if you think that we should not, and we should spend our time and money on some more productive and profitable things, we should reconsider this. And what we can do is, then I have already done for that, is that I have given him a very strict warning that he should not repeat that thing again. We need to have those warnings first in his file, and if he repeats it, we will have to give him another warning, and if he repeats it, we have to give another warning. And then if something happens, will be a good chance for us to so we need to give him a chance to correct himself. He listened to me very carefully, and at the end he said that, okay, have you given him a strict warning? And I said, yes sir, I have given him a very strict warning. Okay, thank you very much. So he hung up again. So though it's a kind of a personal experience, personal boostful experience, but my point was that you need to challenge appropriately whatever is right, and should not be afraid of standing up for not for that individual person, but for yourself. It is for yourself. It is for your own professional needs. It is for your own professional understanding, not for that one person. But whatever you will do, mind you, whatever you will do, it will go a long way to create the culture of the organization, to create the values of the organization. And it in no way will undermine your authority. It will no way undermine your job or your professionalism into the organization. It may under no way will create a rift between you and the person against whom you have stood. By the way, up till now, it's about 10 years that I'm out of that organization now. I've left the organization, started my own consultancy, but still I am with that head of that organization. I'm still, whenever I go to that office, he meets me, hugs me, and greets me with open arms. So that's basically as a great HR, I'm by the way not a very great HR professional. I'm still studying this and still going ahead, still evolving myself. But for a good HR professional, for a great HR professional, these are the things that this is one example. I'm sure you must have lots of beautiful examples. You can quote those under the comments, and I would be happy to kind of refer to those in my training programs or in my next programs. But these are the things. Those who are listening and maybe are afraid that if they will lose their job, or they will lose their good networking with that person, or they will be in the bad books of that person. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of that. You will never be. You will never be. Should be. You should be into good books of your own self. You should be into good books of your own mirror, right? So whenever you see into the mirror, you should be in good books. So it doesn't matter if you are into bad books of some president of the organization or head of the organization, though it's a very revolutionary comment, but still it is there. Understand the link between the people stuff and everything else that happens, like customer experiences. So something which is happening, customers and the people stuff, whatever you are doing into the in regard to the people, and whatever is happening in terms of how the customers are perceiving it and how the customers are behaving, that link should be very seamly or perfectly be understood by you. Okay, take measured risk. Okay, so they take risks and measure it. Take a measuring rod and do a measuring of that. See, so you should be well evaluating it. Measuring means that you should be evaluating that whatever the risk that you're taking, that how it will does it have a will it be in conflict with the values of the organization and the culture of the organization. Whatever risk you are taking, for example, you are starting a new kind of recruitment drive, or you are starting a new recruitment process, or you are starting a new kind of training initiative, or a customer satisfaction or employee satisfaction thing, or you are kind of restructuring the organization again, where there will be rifts amongst the directors of the organization, managers of the organization, or there will be hierarchies that will be broken. Take it, do a good analysis, measure it properly, that what will be the outfall, what would be the will it be backfired or not, what will be the kind of outfall of this thing that you are going to propose to the organization, right? You are trying to make new job descriptions into the organization, you are trying to challenge the authorities of those who are there within the organization for last 10-20 years, and you are a new HR person coming here, freshly graduated perhaps, or freshly from an MNC, and you have landed into a local group, and you want to just break the walls and do everything and open the culture, and you want to take away everything from those who are having it for 15-20 years. So measure it properly. So take that calculation that okay, although those are good things, but may not be right at that moment to practice those. Maybe you need to do a kind of a self-study or organizational study, and then you propose that. I'm not saying that don't propose that. Parks and Tobacco Company back in 2000 and 2001 maybe started breaking all the walls in the that was one of the good bureaucratic organization, very successful, but even it became more successful when it did this. But for that they had to do lots of studies and lots of measuring of the stuff. They are trusted advisors. So people come to you and for coaching and for advice, and you give them a good advice. People trust on you whenever you go there. Trust, by the way, comes when anyone into the organization comes to you and seek an advice on any professional personal issues. Next day he's not called by his department head or the head of the organization that, why are you doing this, what are you thinking about? so and next his next performance appraisal is not being screwed up, or is not screwed up by his own department head the next day. So the trust means that people trust you, they come to you, and you need to honor that trust. And if you when I take it practically, you need to understand that, is this the thing which is basically affecting the overall organization, or whatever he or she is saying or taking advice is something which is just a personal issue. So trust, it does not mean that you will never tell that thing to anybody. It only means that you need to make sure that that person knows the delicate difference between a personal issue and a professional issue. So while you are sitting there and a person comes to you and seeks an advice, he or she, that employee, should understand that, and that he will understand through you that whatever he or she is saying will be taken as a professional thing or taken as a personal thing. So if it is a professional thing which will affect the organization, so there are different rules applied to that advice. If it is a personal thing, there are different things, different rules apply to that thing. So I'm not saying that you should not tell anybody or you should tell anybody. What only I'm saying is that person who is seeking the advice should be very clear through you that whatever advice you will give, that advice would be taken in good confidence in terms of professional or personal. If it is affecting the organization, it will have a different context. If it is affecting only that person, it will have a different context. That will help you to become a trusted advisor. Now, the last slide, don't see themselves as separate to the business that they work for or spend time worrying about whose side they are on. So they should not be worried about the good HR, the great HR professionals. They do not take sides. I mean, it's again a contextual thing. It is again a difficult thing to understand, but they should not be siding. They should not be kind of political worker, or maybe political worker may not be the right word, but perhaps not be a kind of they should be someone who, if they are to be trusted, they should be balanced. They should evaluate whatever coming to them in a manner, if it is a professional or a personal, how it is going to affect the long term interest of the organization, right? Long term impact of the organization first, and then the interest of the people in the organization. So first it comes organization. Why? Because if it is a profit making organization, its role is to make the profit. Its role is to create those opportunities within the organization, within the business, within the economy. So if it is the major role of that organization, so you have to defend first that role, then comes the secondary areas. So you don't have to take the sides. You should or you should not worry about sitting in your office that, oh my god, this is a new thing which is coming up, and it is very very against to the people of the company, and people will be very worried, and there will be high level of kind of turnover, or there will be people, I will have to recruit more. I mean, you should not be worried about it. If it is something which is, you strongly believe that it is wrong for the people of the organization and the organization itself, do it. Stand up. Aren't risk averse? Yes, I mean, they take the risk, measured risk, as I said in the previous slide. Don't put barriers up and create rules that constrict the organization or people within it from taking action. ठीक है? So what you are doing is that you are not putting up such kind of policies or barriers, or you are bringing up legislation into the organization, or quoting the policies, or bringing in new standard operating procedures, which is basically putting people into which is making people afraid of taking actions, right? So you bring up a new policy, for example, or you fire a person who actually came to seek your advice, and you help you make life difficult for him into the organization, right? So the person came to you to seek advice on any personal issue, and maybe a professional issue, and you started making life difficult for him, for the person. So that thing will have a ripple effect throughout the organization. The person will go out and speak, tick, 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 this person has done this with me, HR professional is like this, why there are such policies, why why this is. So you need to stop those barriers within the minds of the people into the organization, so that people should take action. People should be fearless in taking action. If you are a great HR professional, you are fearless in taking action. That should have a ripple effect on all the people within the organization. They should have that understanding that if they do a good, they give a, they will take action. They will make mistakes. They should understand, and how they will understand? They will understand through your constant engagement with them. That engagement comes with, not while sitting in your own office, but that engagement comes when you are sitting in their cafeteria, when you are sitting, if you are having lunch with them, you're having tea with them, you're going onto the workstation, you are having talks with them outside of their regular working stations. So whenever you are doing this, you will be able to create that atmosphere or that encouragement within the people, wherever they would be having less barriers in terms of their mind, in terms of their thinking, that okay, we can practice that, and this HR professional, that he's going there to help us, he is there to protect us. Maybe don't make decisions for managers. They advise and goes, they you don't make decisions for the managers, you only advise and coach them, you bring them towards the decisions that the organization wants. Okay? So you do not make decisions for them, but whenever they come for you advice, or you're available for them for advice. And for that matter, if nobody is coming for you, towards you for advice, I mean, that's a gone case already. If nobody is coming to you for advice, I mean, that's the gone case. But if still there is nobody coming for your advice, and you do not want it to be a gone case, you need to create that outward engagement with the people. You need to move out of your own skin, maybe, to go ahead and create that kind of training program within the, and that kind of engagement drive within the organization, where people could start thinking that okay, we are not going to take advice, we are not seeking advice from him, but he is there to help us all the time. So you need to make yourself available all the time. I remember when I was in Serena, I used to take the advantage of doing the monthly employee, to take the monthly employee function as such an activity, right? In monthly employee activity, where we used to dish out the employee of the month award, and of different departments, there was just two awards that had to be given, one into the senior level, one to the junior level. And earlier, that function every month used to happen, that people just stand up, they come here, and they announce that this is the nomination, and this is the winner, this is the nomination, this is the winner. So I used that opportunity to extend that function from just only a tea activity to engage those. And in just 5 or 10 minutes, I used to tell them different stories, I used to tell them give them different advices which they were not seeking earlier. So after that, they started seeking those advices from me, right? Don't quote employment laws or policies of people. So the worst thing that you can do is, whenever people come to you for advice or to get something done for them, you start quoting them. No, this is not me, this is not me, this is you see, this is the policy written here, I can't do anything on that. You see, this is the law which says that. You see, this is the company's policy for that. So when you start quoting them the company policies or standard operating procedure for that, although that is basically there, you can't change them, but it basically portrays that you are helpless in this. You are helpless into this, right? When you portray that you are helpless, they stop coming towards you. They start going somewhere else, or they start cribbing amongst themselves. They start cribbing amongst the people, amongst themselves, that oh, this company is bad, these policies are bad, and why this policy is there, why the policy can't be changed. Now what to do? What do they do if they don't quote the policies? What they do is they understand the context. And what they do is, oh, if 1, 2, 3, 4 people are coming on the same thing, and this is a special issue, we need to take care of that. Why can't we change this one sentence in the policy? how we can change this thing. Now, you see how you can change it. It may be difficult for the public sector organizations because that's a long process, but it is for the corporate organizations, for the local organizations, for the organization who are there for business. It is comparatively simple and easy for them to change that policy. I mean, they can bring it up this thing in the next their management committee meeting or quarterly meetings, or maybe if there is an yearly circle, they can bring it and they can start debate into the organization that okay, our people are coming to against this thing. People are there's definitely an issue with this policy. This is kind of a constraint towards the development of the people, and people are worried about that. So let's think, how can we change that, right? Maybe a good idea. Don't jump on bandwagons or follow fads. I mean, that's something which we all do. I was doing it sometime, but then I stopped doing it. I mean, whatever is happening into the organization, into the industry, we start doing it also. Every organization is doing a team building training. Let's do it. We will also do. I mean, without understanding if you require a team building training or not, every organization is doing a training program. So we should also do the training program. Every organization is calling this trainer, this. We should also call this trainer and say that okay, yes, that's a wonderful program that we have. Every organization is going to taking their directors to Dubai or Bhurbhan or Greenfields or any other area, and they are engaging them, and they are doing employee functions, and they are engaging families, and they are doing this, and we should start doing this also. I mean, look at the context that you want to do. Look at the needs of your organization. Do you require that or not? Do your people require that or not? What your people, and they definitely require such kind of engagements and drives and trainings. But what trainings? Which trainer? Which consultant? Which is more suitable for you? Which is, I mean, will it be suitable for you to bring the most expensive trainer or least expensive trainer or someone? I mean, maybe you even don't need trainer. You yourself can engage staff in a better manner occasionally, right? It is true that you need trainers, you need some outside people coming in and delivering some kind of a different perspective of the same thing, but it is whatever is happening into the industry, you don't need to do that. Everyone is making going to the recruitment drive into the education institutes. I mean, to collect the CVs, you should also collect the CVs. No, maybe not. I mean, maybe not. So you need to judge your own self. You judge your organizational needs, that you should be going there or not. I mean, what is the purpose of going to the organization or an education institute and collecting thousands of CVs, and those CVs nobody would bother to study those? What's the purpose of that? Or perhaps any software, any application. If everyone is using that, what will it be required for? So the purpose of this, nothing is good or bad. All the trainers are good, all the training activities are good, engagement drives are good, you should take people out and you should do. But is there your requirement? Customize. Don't create processes unless one is really needed. Processes, there are always processes that are required. I mean, this is similar to the previous one also, that other organization has created a process and you also need it, or other department has created a process and you are also willing to do that. Don't blame managers for what people's stuff doesn't get done. Instead, they seek to understand why. Again, there are stuff like that we somehow start blaming that our managers are not educated, or they are not trained, or they are not engaging, or they are abusive, or they are this, or they are this, or they are, I mean, lots of stuff that people, HR professionals, we do that our owners do not understand, and our owners or our CEOs. And I mean, I have heard people who are saying that the owners of the organization or saints of the organization, I mean, they are not. They don't listen to us, or they don't enter us into the board, and I mean, it is not their flaw. I mean, the president of the company, or CEO of the company, or chairman of the company, or owner of the company, or head of the company, he is there for a business. Understand this. He is there to make money. His role is to make money. Yes, he is his additional role, or his 20% or 30% or 40% of the role is to take care of the people also. But your role is 100% to take control of the people. Your role is 100% to make the people happier. Your role is 100% to make that organization profitable through people, because you are leading the people. So you don't have to blame the CEO, the chairman, the owner of the organization, that they are not sending us to training. They reject all the training programs. They don't invest on people. They don't do this. They don't send us to. I mean, I've heard people. One of the HR managers whom I was talking, and he said that yeah, whenever I take the training proposal to the president of the company, he refuses. And I said that, and you come back. He said, yes, I come. And when do you go back? He will not approve the training program, and I don't need to go back. So that is not a great HR professional. The HR professional need to understand how to sell the proposal, whatever the proposal is, to the CEO. That CEO, that president, the chairman, that owner of the organization will buy you first. He is not sitting there to train people. He's sitting there to build the business. He's not sitting there he may be least bothered to make the culture of the organization very engaging or very high. But I mean, his goal may be different. His goal may not be to become a global organization. His goal may be to just to be whatever earning he's getting, a good earning. I mean, there are different people all together into the world. So you need to understand what are the vision of that organization's head or that organization, and you understand that if that's and then you need to engage that CEO also, or that department head also, into the similar manner as you are engaging the other people into the organization, as to how you as HR professional think and understand that the behaviors of the people are demanding that they should be engaged, they should be trained, because it is requirement of the new age, or it is the requirement as to how we can build our organization profitably into the future, right? So it is 95% your mistake. I stopped saying 100%. I mean, मारे ना मुझे ना, तो 5% of course उनकी mistake होगी. 95% your mistake. And have guts. So the HR professionals have guts. They have guts, right? So you understand what guts are. You understand what is this, what it is. They should be able to stand up and deliver. They should be able to rise above their own personalities and deliver. They need to come out of their skin somehow and deliver. They need to understand the bigger picture and deliver. To do that, you have to have guts in yourself. Thank you very much for your time. My name is Umer Raza, and this was a program on great HR and great HR professionals. If you have any comment, you have any question, or you have anything you want to hit me, you need to write at umer.raza@abundance.com.pk. So you can hit me on this email, you can hit the comment below, and I will be happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you very much for time. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.